Captain Kirkpath, the Navigator, as you heard earlier. It's right up 3 miles east of Kings Highway, on Kings Highway, east of I-75, and you go out there, follow the sign, the big yellow sign with a fish on it, and that's where the Navigator is. And Dennis, you said the water warmed up?
Water's actually warmed up a little bit right now. There's a lot of hot spots. We haven't had any real cold weather to go ahead and knock that temperature down and keep it down. So a lot of the fish that would normally move out toward the deeper water and out toward into the Gulf further, like the snapper and the sheep's head moving offshore, they're staying in a little bit closer to shore in some of the reefs. I mean, you can be, a couple hundred yards offshore and be catching some really nice snapper, especially up off the Venice area, up in Englewood. The reefs are a little bit closer. Down here at Boca Grande, you got to either go northwest or down to the south a little bit because there's a lot of silt and sand that have covered up a lot of the good rocks and reefs there. However, Boca Grande Pass still has a pretty good water flow through it, so there's a lot of exposed rock there. You lose a lot of gear because of the current, but if you fish Boca Grande in a slack current, you'll really nail some good grouper and snapper right there. They've been catching grouper in the harbor over by the artificial reef, the Alligator Creek Reef coming off that way, which is the old 41 bridge that's dumped back there back in the 80s. Several other areas in the harbor, the fishing is excellent. The trout right now are coming in humongous. Those things, they're calling them gator trout, monster trout. These things are really good, hitting shrimp on popping corks. And of course, depending upon what the tide is, where you're fishing, adjust your depth of the bait according to what the depth of the water is by the grass. Keep your bait just above the grass as it drifts over the grass. And, these things are hiding in there. You can't see them, but they'll pop out and they'll hit these things, and it's great. The other thing I like using for trout is a topwater lure, like a Zero Spook or something like that, and you're walking across the water. I love surface hits. Seeing a fish come up out of the water. These are all the paintings that you see, and these are all the pictures you see of a fish coming up out of the water doing that. And talking about that type of hit, people this last week caught 9-pound bass.
Ooh.
Up right out in front of the Navigator.
That's a big baby, isn't it?
Those are big. Now, they weren't out that long because I saw them put the boat in the water in the morning, and they went in probably about 8 o'clock, not super early, and they came back in by noon. So they weren't that far away, and they only had a little 15-horse engine on their boat. So the bass are doing good. They also got, I talked to these guys, they also got a bunch of snook too. Snook are just all over the place up there. Again,
but didn't keep them. They threw them back.
No, yeah, right. Yeah, you took those and threw those back in there. But panfish up that way, some of the bluegill up there, hand size, real good eating on those things. So,
and we did have a sighting, Tommy. One of our friends was paddle boarding down at Ponds Park, and they were out there paddle boarding, and he stuck his toes in the water to see what the temperature was, and the sawfish was attracted by his painted toenails.
It's his, that's right, he didn't make a mistake there. It's his painted toenails.
Yep.
And for those of you guys who
know
this, you know who
do I
we're
know this
talking.
guy?
Oh,
yeah,
you know him. Oh, yeah, you know him. So, he's a local legend.
Okay.
In his own mind.
That's right.
But he did see a 4-foot sawfish.
4-foot sawfish down there, yep. So
that's the one that looks like it has a saw on the end of it.
Yeah,
a circular saw.
Well, no, not a circular saw.
Dig saw.
No, it looks like a hedge trimmer.
It looks like a hedge trimmer.
It looks like a hedge trimmer. Yeah.
Exactly.
So.
Have you seen one, Tommy?
Yeah.
Oh, really?
I've seen them. Yeah. Sure.
Yeah. Well, some of the other rare fish you see out here too, and I haven't heard about them for a long time, are sturgeon. We've had sturgeon out here.
That's what somebody. I was just going to ask you that.
Are they long like gar?
Yeah.
They kind of look like that, but they're real bony looking on the outside.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. But they are protected too down here, and I've only seen a few of them down here. Up towards Shell Creek is where we saw them up that way. So, but really neat. You never know what you're going to get.
So make sure when you go out, you have one of the fishing guys from Fish and Frank's or Lashley's fishing supply place. Make sure and find out the local rules about what you're going for, because I know when you catch any of the mangrove snap or anything like that, you've got to have a circle hook.
Yeah. And make sure that if you're not sure, don't keep it. Don't take the chance.
Does the state produce a brochure with
Yes,
all of the different fish on them?
Yep.
And what the rules are about the length?
938 pages.
Oh my God.
And
well, it's a big one, Tommy.
Yeah.
But you can get the simple charts.
Yeah.
That's what I'm talking about. That open up
Right. Shows you pictures and everything like that.
Okay.
Yeah. But there's a lot of stuff on there that, because it's such a small area, that doesn't really give you the information you need.
Yeah.
So, because there are closed seasons and all this kind of thing. Like snook, if somebody here is really hankering to eat snook, go over to the East Coast. It's still open over there.
Yeah.
All right. We did that when we were down to the Keys, and it was good. So
Now, old friend of yours is doing a fishing course. If you're going out, it's at the PGI Civic Association building on Shreve Street on Wednesday evenings from 7 to 9. Ralph Allen's doing that beginning on Wednesday, January 9th. That's this week. Call them today at 941-637-1655.
he knows fishing.
He knows fishing.
Yeah.
Good morning. You're on the